Hello everybody, this is the 5th Books and Balance program pre-recorded video, and this week we're going to be talking about healthy eating and meal preparation. Today we're going to be talking about the importance of proper nutrition. We'll share various nutrition recommendations and resources, meal preparation recommendations and resources. I have compiled a few recipe resources, and then we'll discuss a Roosevelt Group cookbook idea. So having proper nutrition really does protect you from a lot of chronic, non-communicable diseases such as heart disease, diabetes, and cancer. And also the foods that you eat truly do supply the nutrients that your body needs to help you maintain your brain, your muscle, your bone, nerves, skin, blood circulation, and even your immune system as well. So nutrition is very important in our everyday lives. So before I begin, I just want to provide just a general disclaimer that I'm not a registered dietitian. So these following things are just general dietary recommendations. If you do want very specific recommendations that are tailored to you and to maybe some medical conditions that you might have, I would just speak to a registered dietitian. There are two main classes of nutrients in food, so we're going to talk about macronutrients and micronutrients. Macronutrients are the carbohydrates, the protein, and the fat in your foods, and they really help supply energy to your body in the form of calories. And these are going to be really the building blocks for your muscles and for your tissues. Micronutrients are the individual vitamins and minerals that you get from your foods. And so you really do need a combination of these nutrients, of macronutrients and micronutrients, in all the foods that you eat. They recommend for a healthy diet just to eat a variety of foods and consuming less salt, sugar, and saturated trans fats. And they talk about this idea of superfoods. So superfoods are foods that stand out because they sort of, so to speak, pack the biggest nutritional punch, and you can get a lot of nutritional benefit from these foods. And so they recommend trying to incorporate some of these superfoods into your everyday diet. And one of these is berries. So berries are very high in fiber. They're naturally sweet, and their rich colors mean that they're very high in antioxidants, which can be disease-fighting nutrients. Another one is fatty fish. Fatty fish can be a great source of protein and omega-3 fatty acids, which helps prevent heart disease. So those with the highest omega-3 content are going to be salmon, mackerel, trout, anchovies, and sardines. Leafy greens are also a huge superfood. So dark leafy greens are a great source of vitamin A, vitamin C, calcium, and several phytochemicals which are used to fight inflammation, and they protect your cells from cellular damage. And then various nuts like hazelnuts, walnuts, almonds, and pecans are a good plant protein source, and they contain what are called monounsaturated fats, which can play a factor in reducing the risk of heart disease too. So those are very heart healthy. Olive oil is a great source of vitamin E and those monounsaturated fatty acids, and all of which help reduce the risk of heart disease. So they recommend using that olive oil when cooking if possible because of those benefits. Looking at whole grains are a great source of soluble and insoluble fiber, and they contain several B vitamins and minerals. They've been shown to lower cholesterol and protect your heart and protect you from diabetes as well. Yogurt is a great source of calcium and protein. It contains live cultures that are called probiotics, and these are good bacteria that protect your body from harmful bacteria, so it kind of helps maintain that natural good bacteria in your gut. Different vegetables like broccoli, Brussels sprouts, cabbage, cauliflower, collard greens, kale, kohlrabi, mustard greens, radishes, and turnips are all very excellent sources of fiber, various vitamins, and they have those phytochemicals in them too, which can also help prevent some types of cancer. So those are some kind of superfood vegetables that you can incorporate in your diet. And then lastly, legumes is a broad category that includes kidney, black, red, garbanzo beans, soybeans, and peas. And those are an excellent source of fiber, folate, and protein, and they can help be heart healthy. Some general recommendations for a diet really involves following 4 key steps and 4 key things. The first one is lots of plants, lots of vegetables in your diet. The second one is adequate protein. Those protein sources can be from meats, but they can also be from beans, lentils, soy foods, nuts, seeds, and fish too. 3, they recommend that you eat minimally processed foods. So a diet that's really high in ultra-processed foods can cause weight gain. It can cause unhealthy shifts in your blood sugar and in your cholesterol, because when they process that food, it often strips away the nutrients that's in that food, and it adds in fats, extra sugars, extra sodiums, additives, and preservatives. So it takes away that nutritional value of foods. And then lastly, 4, eat foods with limited saturated fats, added sugars, and sodium. So they recommend limiting that saturated fat intake to less than 10% of your daily calories, and the same goes for sugars too. And then for sodium, they recommend keeping it below 2,300 milligrams per day. I do recommend when you're looking at the nutritional label on the back, this is something that many of you have probably heard before, but making sure to keep an eye on that serving size, because you might have something like a candy bar and it says it's 2 servings or 2.5 servings. And let's be real with ourselves, who's splitting that candy bar between 2.5 people? We're probably not. We're probably going to eat it ourselves. And so looking at the nutritional values and knowing maybe the serving size is 2 for that candy bar, but I'm going to eat the whole thing. And so then I have to double everything that I see on the nutritional label. I look at the saturated fat, the sugars, and maybe it says this candy bar is 20% of my daily sugars, but it's 2 servings. So if I eat the whole candy bar, that's 40% of the sugars I should have in my day just in the one candy bar. So it's important just to kind of pay attention to that serving size on the back of the label and be aware of that. I next want to talk about MyPlate. So MyPlate is the new food pyramid. If you guys remember that food pyramid on the things that you should have in your diet throughout the day and how much it should make up. MyPlate is just kind of a visual reminder for you to choose a variety of foods throughout the day and throughout the week that kind of make up these core areas of diet. And so they recommend making half of your plate fruits and vegetables. So they say to focus on whole fruits and to kind of vary your veggies so you can get a variety of nutrients from those vegetables. So that's kind of depicted on that side of your plate. They also recommend your grains in that top corner, just to make half of the grains on your plate those whole grains. So rather than like simple grains, white breads, just trying to make sure that they're more complex carbohydrates and more whole grain foods. Whole grain noodles rather than the white noodles, those types of things. I know that they maybe don't taste always as good and people prefer those simple carbs, but it is better to incorporate those whole grains if you can. You should also vary your protein routine and what types of protein that you're eating, because you can get different benefits from the protein. You don't want to just make all of your food red meat. You want to make sure that you're getting that fish, the chicken, the beef, the different types of proteins that you have as well. And then they also recommend moving to low-fat or fat-free dairy milk or yogurt too. So I put a picture of this MyPlate on this slide just so you can see these recommendations as well. So myplate.gov is really an excellent site to check more into different nutritional recommendations, and they have a variety of free tools and resources that I'll kind of touch on here. They have something that's called a MyPlate plan. And this is very personalized. You type in your age, your height, your weight, and other very basic factors, and then it will show you specifically how much that you should be eating from those food groups over the course of your day. They also have a Start Simple, it's called, mobile app, and that lets you set daily food goals, and it helps kind of track your progress towards those goals and making sure that you're eating things in the different categories. They have the Shop Simple tool. This offers cost-saving tips and suggestions just to help you prepare healthy meals on a budget. And then there's something that's called the MyPlate Kitchen. This provides recipes and resources to help support kind of building budget-friendly and healthy meals that help you meet those nutritional goals that are outlined in the MyPlate. They have MyPlate tip sheets that cover just a variety of nutritional topics that you can choose from. And this is kind of a fun little thing that I didn't know about, so I want to share it with you all. You can also use your Alexa if you have a smart device, and you can have her activate the MyPlate Alexa skill, and that will help you have her give you healthy eating tips on your Amazon Alexa device, different recipes, different healthy nutritional facts and resources. I've put a link to this website on this page so that you can access all of those various resources just directly using that link. So if you click on that, you can kind of get outsourced to those different resources. The second link is called Calorie King. This is an app, but they have a website as well that you can use. And it's a great resource just to find various nutrition facts for the foods that you're eating. And they have a free calorie counter and exercise journal that you can use as well. So they have a lot of going out to eat places that you can type in and kind of see what the nutritional facts are for the food that you're eating. So it's just great to help you kind of keep informed, because if you're not informed about what the nutrition is and what you're eating and what it all contains and what percentages, it's hard for you to be able to track how much you should be consuming. So meal preparation is really an excellent way for you just to kind of plan out your meals for the week, just help you save time during the week on cooking too. And you can do meal prep in a variety of ways. You can pre-plan most of your dinners and just have them frozen or in the fridge and just cook them fast, microwave them, put them in the oven. You can cook on the same days, such as Sunday, for example. So you're like, hey, this is Sunday. I'm going to plan ahead 4 meals for the next 4 days, and I'm going to cook it all on this day. You can plan the meals and make sure that you have the right ingredients for that right night. So ahead of time, you can say, hey, I'm going to have these specific meals on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. What do I need for them? So that way you can go grocery shopping, get everything together so you're not trying to run around and putting the time in, searching for a recipe, searching for ingredients, how much you need. You can have everything kind of ready just to kind of throw in. You can also plan what meals that you will have on certain nights and just plan ahead for those meals. Like maybe you don't even necessarily have all the ingredients put out and the things put in the fridge, but maybe you just plan ahead. Okay, Tuesday I'm having tacos because it's Taco Tuesday. Wednesday we're going to do this spaghetti. Thursday we're going to do that. And just kind of plan ahead. Or you can do crock pot meals so that you can throw them in the morning and they'll be ready for you when you get off of work. So there's a lot of different ways that you can do that meal preparation. And so on this slide, I've just put some general meal preparation recommendations. So they recommend just collecting healthy recipes, quick recipes, saving them in a binder, or you can even copy those recipe links onto an online spreadsheet too. And they say to consider specific meals or foods or kind of themes for different days of the week. So maybe every Monday you do meatless Mondays, or on Wednesdays you do whole grain Wednesdays and you try to incorporate some type of whole grain in your food, or you do a stir fry Friday. And it just kind of helps you plan ahead certain nights and themes that are maybe related to some My Plate recommendations or some nutritional things that you should be consuming just to kind of help you. And so that stir fry Friday, maybe one Friday you're using chicken and these types of vegetables, and the next Friday you're using more of a beef and these types of vegetables and maybe some rice, or, so just kind of varying it up but having a theme for different nights and kind of changing what you do can be helpful in meal planning. Just because you have Taco Tuesday does not mean that your tacos need to be the same every single week. Maybe one week you're using chicken, maybe one week you're using shredded beef or ground beef. So you can definitely vary it, but it can kind of help you start somewhere to have a few themed nights throughout your week. They also say to create enough dinners for 2 to 3 days of the week and then kind of go from there when you're meal planning. It's not always easy right away to say, I'm going to start meal planning. I have my next 6 days planned out. It's not always easy to do that. So maybe just starting with 2 meals a week, I'm going to plan that out, get that ready. That's going to help you in and of itself. Just save time throughout that week and reduce stress. So start small with something that's a little more easy to incorporate. You can also choose specific days. So they say to pick a day to do the following. So pick a pre-planned day that you are going to plan out your menu. I'm going to say that Saturdays I'm planning out my menu for the next week and what I'm going to eat. And Sundays, I'm going to write out my grocery shop and I'm going to grocery list, and I'm going to grocery shop. And then maybe a Sunday night, you're meal prepping, or maybe Monday, I know I don't have a lot going on in the evening, so I'm going to meal prep. Something like that, and pick a specific day so that each week it's kind of the same and you kind of have a schedule that you know when you're going to do what. It's recommended to make extra portions of recipes for another day or 2 of meals. So when you're making them, you have the mess out already, you have the pan. Just make extras so that you can use them for leftovers, or you can even pick recipes that you can freeze really easily too. So that way you can use it as a meal 2 weeks from now, so you don't get tired of that meal and don't have tons of leftovers like all week long. So just make an extra portion of it. Maybe then half that soup goes in the freezer in a freezer safe kind of tub for soup, and then the other half stays out. We eat that this week. 2 weeks from now, I have it labeled. I'm grabbing that soup and we're eating it then, and it's already made. Everything's pre-made. So that's kind of something neat that you can do too. They say when you are meal prepping and you're planning ahead with meals, just making sure that you label all the food with the date that you cooked them to kind of help you keep track of which ones to eat first. If you have glass food containers, I find that you can just use like a dry erase expo marker and you can write on the top just the date. You can also use some of that masking tape, put the date on there, just so you can kind of keep track of when it was prepared and when you might need to throw it away and what needs to be eaten first. They recommend stocking up on with your kitchen, just stocking up on a lot of the foods that you have so that you have essentials on hand for meal prep. So when you need to whip up meals, you have something to cook with. So some recommendations that they give for healthy things to keep on hand. They say for your fridge to keep some fruits, vegetables, dark leafy greens, low-fat cheese, fresh salsa, plain yogurt, eggs, chicken, low-fat milk, pesto, light mayonnaise, hummus, and lemons. For your freezer, they recommend keeping a variety of frozen vegetables without sauce, some poultry, fish, beef, and berries. For your cupboard, they recommend keeping brown rice, quinoa, oatmeal, whole grain cereal, whole grain tortillas, whole wheat pasta, whole grain bread. As you can see, the theme is whole grain, as we talked about before, nuts and seeds, peanut butter, onions, sweet potatoes, garlic, some canned beans, making sure that if you can, getting the low sodium canned beans, some canned fish like sardines, tuna, salmon, some low sodium soups, so making sure that, and oftentimes the flavor isn't even that much different for lower sodium soups, but it can really help reduce that, canned tomatoes, low sodium chicken, beef, and vegetable broths for you to cook with, tomato paste, olive oil, balsamic vinegar, mustard, herbs, and spices. And so those are just some examples of some healthy things that they recommend keeping on your storage shelf so that way you can kind of stock up, and during the week if you need to make something you can think on your feet and just make something kind of quick, and you don't always have to go shopping throughout the week all the time. You guys obviously know what kind of foods and what kind of recipes that you guys like to make throughout the week, so I recommend just kind of keeping an eye on that. And hey, I know I make this a lot. Maybe I'm just going to keep a few of these things in my pantry so that way I don't need to constantly be running to the grocery store. Crock-pot meals are also a really effective way when you're looking at meal preparation. There are so many recipes that you can just dump in ingredients, leave it for the day, just to await you when you get home too. So now I would just want to discuss some useful apps for recipe finding and meal planning. The Paprika app, it does not have a built-in recipe guide, but it allows you to save and enter in recipes that you see from the internet. And with the free version, you can add in up to 50 recipes, and then you can create grocery lists from those recipes directly on that app. The Mealtime app has recipes that are made within 30 minutes or less, so it's great for quick, easy recipes. It can also create a list of recipes for you based on different dietary restrictions and kind of your eating habits that you have, completely free. They do have a paid version if you want the nutritional information of the food and the recipes that you're eating, or if you need help with like substituting items, they have different examples, but that's with the non-free version. But the free version gets you all of those recipes for 30 minutes or less. The Whisk app is free, and it provides you with a calendar where you can add in what recipes you're going to do for each day to kind of help you meal plan. It also has customizable recipes, and you can create shopping lists from those recipes too, and just kind of your dietary preferences that you have. Eat This Much app is where you enter your personal info, you put your height, weight, and the app is going to create a very personalized meal plan for you, and you can add in online recipes to that too. And so those are just a few apps that can help you with meal preparation and how to locate certain recipes. All of these links on this slide will be included on the website at the end of the program, but the first link is a link to a website that has a month worth of very quick and easy dinner recipe ideas. The second link is these quick and easy recipes on allrecipes.com, and they have options for breakfast, lunch, dinner, dessert, appetizers, all of those. The third is a link to 50 easy dinner recipes from the Food Network. And then the last link is a link to the Food Network website. It has some very easy crock pot meals that can just be a great way to help you meal prep and reduce your time cooking too. Throw it in and get home from work and it'll be ready for you. This week for the weekly recommended activity, I would like you all to email or write out a quick and easy recipe that you enjoy preparing and cooking. And you can email it to me at my email smmessmer1@umary.edu, or you can just bring it to me in the lounge. You can also place it in Daisy Harold's mailbox as well if that's a little bit easier for you. And I want everyone in the school, all staff members, to share a minimum of one recipe. And if you have more to share, more recipes will be appreciated because the more that are shared, the bigger the recipe book can be. And then I'm going to then take all those recipes and I'm going to compile them into a Roosevelt shared group recipe book. And I'll make sure that all of you guys have a copy of this Roosevelt recipe book, and it'll just be a fun way to help you all, provide you with some easy dinner recipes that have already been tested. They've already been loved by your coworkers, and kind of a fun little way to get people together to create a group cookbook. Here are the references for this week's voiceover and for the content this week. I just want to thank you all for listening. If you do have any questions, comments, or concerns, you can always use my contact information on this slide and send me an email or just come find me in the lounge. Thank you again for listening.